Welcome to TWMP Daily. How about the third time this week, working like a job? Coming to you and bringing Representative Wendy Hosman, St. Charles County. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having
How's
me.
Steve Ellman doing?
He's doing great.
He's the best dude in the world.
Traveling, he's doing some great
I
things.
texted him the other day. He's like, I'm in Portugal. I'm really
Yes.
important. I was like, well, that
He
would
is
actually
so
mean you're important.
Yes.
You look very lovely today. I guess you're going to be the first person not to put the wrestling mask on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured you would be, yeah. I couldn't believe, so Dane and I, we knew we would celebrate Cinco de Mayo. Then Maggie yesterday just put the thing on. It was amazing.
Oh.
So you have big news to announce, though,
I
that does
do.
not require a Lucha Libre mask.
No, it does not.
What's the big news?
I am going to officially announce that I am running for majority floor leader.
Okay, so you'd be succeeding Representative Riley,
Yes.
the floor leader now. Big job.
It
I mean, the
is.
House is kind of the power sort of gets narrowed down to one or two people, and that's one of the two, and usually one of those two ends up being Speaker after that. What made you want to run for this?
Well, I didn't actually want to run for this, but I felt that my colleagues were all talking to me, and I think, which gave me a little bit more confidence to say, yeah, I can do this. And I think I have experience of working with people, and I know how to network. That's what I did before. And so just keep building those relationships and working with people. Being a former business owner, I think I have that business aspect where it hasn't had that for a while, and I think that's important to the state, and I think that would help a lot.
I tell you, and I don't think this is just a House thing, but so often you get these people that never created a job in their life.
Right.
They've never known what it's like to have to make payroll. They've known what it's like to have to make that sale on Thursday and close it and put the check in the bank so you can make payroll on Friday.
Yep.
I see a lot of people talk about creating jobs, but boy, I don't see many of them that actually have.
Right. So I think that gives me a little bit of an advantage because I just have that viewpoint that we haven't had, at least as a floor leader for a while.
So walk me through, this is wrap up your second term, is that correct?
Yes, it is. Third year.
So you come in and you're running for floor leader. The job is essentially to run the House floor, right?
Yes.
You decide what on the calendar you're going to go to, when, how. I know there's some role in how many amendments you're going to allow on and how you have. It is a hugely organizationally heavy job, I think.
And I'm really good at organizing people, and so that's where I think that's a strength that I think I bring to the floor.
Well, it is interesting. I mean, you do have to, especially next week. I mean, Alex Riley will have to organize a ton of things.
Yes.
In a condensed period of time with all kinds of pressure and everybody
And
watching.
he's done a great job. I have to give him credit.
Well, the dude's smart enough.
He's
he's
very
going to be our
smart.
guest Sunday on This Week in
Oh,
Missouri
good.
Politics, by the way.
He's a good guy. I get along with him very well.
The dude is smart.
Yes, he is.
I have, but I tell you, I didn't know him that well. I met his wife, and all of a sudden, after meeting his wife, I'm like, okay, the picture is now complete. This all makes
Yes.
sense to me. So tell me about your family.
My family, well, actually, a funny story. When Alex came to one of my events previously, and my husband met him, and he was like, "I really like that guy." And I think whenever your spouse says that, makes that claim, I think that does say something about a person. But my family, I've been married for over 30 years. I have 5 kids, and like I said, run a business. My husband and I owned a lumber yard for a while, and so yeah, fun business.
Gosh, I used to have to. It would be so funny. My dad, as a contractor. So we'd have to go load the lumber and then have to find the exact right bay. And I know more about lumber yards than I wish I did actually.
Yeah, my husband too. But he still he still works for a lumber company in St. Charles, and so he still continues to do that. So
all right.
that's his
So
business.
kids, where you from?
I'm from Illinois, right across the river,
Yeah.
Alton area.
Fast Eddie's.
Yes, right,
Nice.
right near there. But I went to Roxana, so it's
So
a
what's
little
that
tiny
town
town.
with all the kind of cool artsy things and like some wineries?
Oh, Grafton.
Grafton, yeah.
Yeah.
I like Grafton.
Grafton's a
good
cute town. It
yeah.
is a very cute town.
And it's what's it about a half hour north up that river road?
Yeah,
from
about.
Alton? Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Grafton.
It's a
so
fun little town.
where are you at from Fast Eddie's?
From Fast Eddie's, I'm like East Alton, Roxana, a little tiny town, right by the refineries. So yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, fun area.
Well,
But
that's cool.
Met my husband there.
What
so-
part of St. Charles you live in?
I live in St. Peters.
St. Peters, St. Charles County.
Yes.
All of you think this is different. It's all St. Louis, from Wentzville to Arnold. It's just to the rest of the world. It's just a bunch of St. Louis.
Right.
What do you live by?
What do I live by?
Yeah,
What do you mean?
in the county there.
Oh, what do I live by in the county? I live by the mall.
Gotcha. So
The
everybody knows
Mid
where that
Rivers
is.
Mall.
Yep.
Yes, yes.
Everybody knows where that is.
Yes.
You're near the Union Hall, right?
Yes, very close. Yeah.
It's the coolest Union Hall in the world.
It is. Nice volleyball.
Yeah, Union Hall has a volleyball court. That's pretty legit. So you do this. What is something that you think it hasn't got attention that if you get to be, frankly, one of the most powerful people in the Missouri legislature, you'll be able to put attention on?
I'd like to see IP reform come back. We haven't really paid a whole lot of attention to that.
Can you do that until you do something with Amendment 3?
I think there's some ways.
I mean, but maybe though, by the time you would be floor leader,
that's true.
They would have addressed
a while.
some Amendment 3 fix. Yeah. Curtis Trent, who's smarter than I could ever hope to be, he had an idea once. Now, we were just talking. I don't think it was some official policy he'd worked up, but he said, what if you did a thing where you had, okay, everything going forward is under the new system where it's harder to do, and everything that's been done on the old system, you can repeal it. By the same way.
Like a grandfather clause.
Yeah. Let me ask you this question. Everybody harped last year about, IP reform is killed. I think people overlook the fact that even if you were to put this on the ballot, which is all you could really do, do you think the folks vote for it?
I think
it's a tougher sell.
I think that is a tough sell, but I also think we could do some statute changes.
Who's going to fund it?
I think there'd be a lot of people out there that would probably fund it, yes.
I watch this a lot. This Prop A fix is one of these things.
Yes.
I watch the business community come to your office and say, you got to do this, yeah. And then if I had to guess, I know a few people that were behind the Prop A effort. And they're the Federal Society of the Democrat side.
Right.
They're Washington people who just are wanting to color it on a map. And they did.
Right.
Kind of like the Federal Society wants to do sometimes. They force these clowns they treat them like just awful. They treat them like crap. And these poor people are proud to be members of something where they're totally top-down told what to do. It's a little bit like that with the Prop A thing. I think the Prop A folks are baiting you.
Oh, probably.
I think they want you to change something in statute so they can go to the public in a constitutional amendment and say, we tried to do this one way, but the politicians, and they'll pass something even more aggressive.
They could. But I think if we change some statute things pertaining to IP,
what statutes would you change? That's interesting.
We'll just say that.
It's okay.
Some thoughts.
I always tell people it's a secret. Don't tell me. Please don't.
We don't need to share everything.
Mike Steinmeier shared me this. Martin's Creek.
Yes.
Mayor Martin from Kansas City, he moved out and formed his own town, and now some folks formed a distillery. So it wasn't a Cinco de Mayo drink, but it might be like a Thursday afternoon.
Right, yeah.
After we tape the TV show. I want to thank Mike, appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you went from being a member who's running for leader to a chairman of, I guess it's called something, but really it's the Doge thing.
Yes, it's
You're
government
looking
efficiency.
to cut government, right?
Absolutely.
So, I always wondered, why don't you just go over to the Truman Building one day, just sit there during lunch, just say, hey, because everyone in the Truman Building is petrified of those pins you wear. But if you went over there and said, hey, I don't. You don't have to tell me your name? I don't. But what is something state government could do better?
That might be a good idea.
Probably some of those folks, and it'll always be the loud person, right? But you're from St. Charles County, you know about that. The loud person, but you might find a quiet person that might be like, can I have your card? And you might get some cool emails.
You never know.
About, I think those folks have thoughts. Now, most of the time it's going to be, I should work less and get paid more.
Right.
But I'm not sure there might not be some folks that might be willing to talk.
Maybe. It might be a good idea.
And I'm
Scott.
sure the department directors will be like, who's down there?
Yeah.
What's that about? But, I mean, to me, there might be ideas that aren't some controversial thing, not trying to burn somebody down.
I think there's a lot. I mean, this is a new committee, so I'm anxious. I've only been on it for 3 days, so I'm anxious to learn.
So you weren't on it before.
I wasn't. No.
You got put on it as the chair.
Yes.
I always thought it'd be cool, though, if you did go around and just, I don't know if it has to be an official committee hearing, but just ask some people their thoughts.
You have the right to freedom of speech, so you can't ask anybody anything.
Well, sure, but I mean, to me, if I'm in your position, I might want to know what some folks think.
Yeah, absolutely.
I might want to go to the prison and ask some of the guards, hey, how could this be done better? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Efficiency doesn't have to just mean slashing things.
No.
It can be a changing your approach.
Just changing how you do things, right?
And I think in state government, any government, there is a real bias toward not changing how you do anything. And I think that, your committee could be an absolute elixir to that.
Right. Well, doing things the same way we've always done, because that's how we've done it.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I've never liked that. So
who's on there with you?
There is, like I said, I've been on this for 3 days.
Yeah.
But Don Mayhew is my vice chair.
Well, at least maybe you can fish an opinion out of Don sometime.
Yes.
I mean, if you could just get one opinion out of Don, that would probably be worth it.
Oh, that'll be worth it.
I mean,
yes.
Who could actually get Don to speak his mind?
I don't know. That would be a tough one.
You probably can't take Don on the business. Don would scare the shit out of them, I think.
Yeah.
He scares the shit out of me sometimes. I mean, I don't even work for him. I don't know if you could take Don over there.
Yeah.
Although, Don, in 20 minutes, they'd be buying him sodas, and he might be sitting there holding court.
He might. You never know.
So the Democrats, do they like being on this committee? I bet this is not their favorite thing.
I don't know. I've not talked to anybody
when
yet.
do you have a meeting?
I may not even have one this year.
It's probably an interim thing, right?
I'm assuming, like I said, I've had it for 3 days.
Yeah.
So this is the first time I'm like even.
Well, has your staff got the pay raise effective for 3 days? That's the key thing.
I think he has. No, I don't know yet.
It comes with a little bump.
It does.
Right?
Well, my assistant told me, he said his wife was very happy with me because he's getting a pay raise.
Cozart's not a Doge fan. Cozart doesn't tell people he's a Butler County guy from back in the day. South Butler County, too. I'm a West Butler County guy. Cozart was a South Butler County guy, which means he has webbed toes. Because the water stands
okay.
All right, tell me, news of the day is the budget. I believe all accounts was a quite interesting meeting with the House staff in Lincoln, and I guess some other members were there. Then the House said, we're going to do this at 10 p.m. Why would you do it at 10? I mean, what are you trying to,
I believe that's when the Senate is going to be out of session, so we can't do it during session. So we're going to follow the rules, and if I get a text that I need to come and be at the Capitol at 10 o'clock tonight, I will be at the Capitol at 10 o'clock.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
I think the Senate's going to be out of session here in about half an hour.
Well, that's what I've been told is 10 o'clock, so that's what time I will be ready.
Really? But like, and again, if it's a secret, I always tell people, please, I beg them, don't tell me. Because if you tell two people and one of them's in the media, I'm going to catch all the blame. But like, what would be the strategy behind, we're not going to meet at 3, we're going to meet at 10?
I'm going to leave that to Dirk, because this is what Dirk is, he's the one that's in control and he has the power seat. So I'm going to let him control it and run it.
You're going to be on 2 of these committees, right? Which ones?
Yes, 10 and 11.
And what do they do?
They are mental health, social services, and what's the other one? Health.
So, well, there's something in there that's a priority to you that you care about?
I do. I do care about disability. I have a disabled daughter, and so the disability community, is very important.
Oh.
So I've been a big advocate
So
for that.
tight-knit.
Yes, and so I would like, make sure we keep things that are already protecting, children, the disabled, any social services for seniors. Those are things that are important. I mean, we have to, by law, take care of people, and it costs the state more money by not giving the money that they need, and then paying for it in a supplemental later. So I'd rather just pay what we need to pay, and then not have to do the supplemental.
I know you're a House member and you're running to be in the leadership of the House, but I don't think regular people care
and they
that House
should.
members put on their Facebook page, we cut the budget. If you're just going to come back and do a supplemental, that's,
I agree.
you can. Jerking people jerking themselves off to that. I don't think any regular people actually give a damn.
Right.
I think they might appreciate if you just funded the state at whatever level you think is appropriate.
Right.
But just do a workable 12-month budget like grown-ups would do.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of these pet projects that really should the state be paying for, and those are the things that we need to get rid of.
Do you think that because Governor Parson always vetoed the St. Charles County pet projects?
I'm a little bitter.
You definitely had pet projects in the budget, but your senators always made sure they were vetoed out. You haven't really got to see the pet projects, except you are getting. I mean, what county will benefit more than Senator Huff's initiative to 6-lane I-70? There's not a county in the state that'll benefit more than St. Charles.
Yeah, we've got taken care of in that sense.
But I mean, while it's kind of funny, when I was mayor, we built we had 4 lanes in Poplar Bluff to about 6-7 miles out of town, but it ended 6-7 miles out of town. To me, St. Charles does have some places 8 lanes, right?
Yeah.
Maybe 10.
Yeah.
But when you go through Wentzville, that's a disaster.
It is, and they're going to fix that.
Finally.
So, yeah.
Shout out to the Goat Bar in Wentzville. But really, I mean, 6-lane that all the way across the state, that's going to be a huge benefit to St. Charles County, even though I guess not that much of the construction's done there.
Right.
But I think, increasing that traffic has
that
to do
flow,
nothing but help
make it a lot easier. Yeah, absolutely.
I still think your bias against pet projects is because you don't get any.
That could be.
Maybe Kehoe will give you a few, right?
Maybe he will. Maybe
hey,
he likes
Nick,
it. He likes St. Charles County. Yeah.
You can't. People have to give Nick his props. He's came to play.
Yeah.
He's done very well. So what else? So that's the mental health budget, or is that the health budget?
Mental health and.
So how does this work? So you're you're the chair of some subcommittees.
I was, not anymore.
Well, you got promoted.
After this.
You got the sub,
session,
but they kept you on the conference committee, right? Because you've worked the whole thing all the way up to now.
I have.
So how does that work in the House? You have subcommittee meetings just on the department?
Yes, we have one major, and then I'm working with the chairs. I'm working with the people in the budget office to try to figure out what is needed. I get requests sent to me, and then I take those to Dirk. And
So the subcommittee then, so you know these line items when they're, I guess you're going to just set line by line with the state budget, right?
that's what I'm hearing. Yeah, that's what.
Okay, I'm going to ask you one question about the state
Senator
budget, and if it's top secret House information, please don't tell me.
Okay.
But let's say tonight at 10 o'clock, you sit down in this room, and then you get a budget bill, a line item, and if I had to guess from my state of knowledge, the 3 Republicans vote one way on the House. You'll vote with the chairman, I assume, on every
I will.
line. And the senators are going to vote together. And then you've kind of went outside the norms, and Patterson just picked some people that'll kiss his ass on the Democrat side to be one, and then he's got Betsy. So my assumption is the 5, you'll have 3 House Republicans, and whoever's got Patterson has got to sell out, and then you'll have 5 senators and Betsy, and it'll be 6-4, right? So what do you do then?
Well, I'm going to leave that to Dirk.
Suspense. I like it. I like it. See, I start drinking too early in the day to really be following this at 10 p.m. But Jake Croson with the Missouri Times, he will be following this information. I think it's an interesting conundrum because these are they're House bills, right?
Right.
So you just don't do a budget?
You have to think about it. Dirk's spent a lot of time. I mean, he's done this for, I think he's going into, this is his 7th year. And
Very
so
experienced
he
in money
knows that
management, I'm sure.
budget, very, very well. I've known Dirk for the last 3 years, and he cares about that budget. He knows that budget. I trust him, and I know that he's going to do what's right for not only our caucus, but I think he's going to do what's right for the state. And so I have to put my trust and my faith in Dirk, and that's what I'm going to do.
All right. Let me ask you, I'll put you on the spot with one then.
Okay.
Because this is not about what's going to happen today or any super secret House guns and abortion docket stuff. Do you believe that if you do let the House take the lead, will you just not be back with the biggest supplemental in state history in January like you were this year?
No, I don't think so. Honestly, I don't.
Well, then what will they do different this year that they screwed up last year?
I think we paid our bills, and we just didn't pay for things. I mean, we had a lot of...
Well, you did go pay for everything in a supplemental
Right.
6 months later.
Right.
So, I mean, it's no difference. This taxpayer's out the exact same amount of money. It's just, do you do things in a workable way where you can
Right.
make projections over, you can run a business. I mean, I just have a hard time thinking that you'd run your business that way.
Right.
I think you'd you'd put together projections that are realistic in a workable 12-month budget, and you'd give it to your people that work for you, and that's what the constraints they'd work under. Not, we're going to fund like 8 months of the budget, and then we're going to do a
No.
supplemental. And
But
then,
what I've seen from Dirk, it is actually, it's feasible. We'll be in debt in no time if we do what the Senate's has offered us right now, and it's just not feasible. So that's what
like
I
a
think.
they'll be in a deficit, right?
Yes.
Because you really can't get
Well, yeah.
too far off.
Right.
It does seem like, but so here's the problem that I think if you're just an old boy driving a truck in Willow Springs today, if you believe you're going to be deficit spending shortly, which I do too, you just passed a huge tax cut today.
We did.
So at some point,
We have to stop spending. That's what we have to do.
okay, it seems like both, right? Maybe somebody's got to get there with business sense and do a little bit of, okay, here's what we got. Here's how we get
Right.
to good. Because I do think you're right. I do think
know
you're going to be
I'm right.
you're going to be in deficit spending. It was funny. You had all these people, all these goofs on Facebook would be like, "Oh, the state budget's bigger than it ever was." Well, no, you had a lot of that Washington money.
We did. We
that
had
papered over a
of
lot of issues.
Yeah, a lot of ARPA money, and that's done. That's gone. That's no more.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Is the state operating at a deficit right now, for what you've seen?
Not right now. It is not, but in the future, the next year or so, it could be.
You think it's a year? I thought maybe,
27.
Parson vetoed, no, not to pick on St. Charles, but Parson vetoed a lot. I mean, I thought you guys stretched that money out about as far as you could.
Absolutely.
But it's either this year or next year, there's no more to
There's
pull
no
out.
more. No.
And then another tax cut is going to kick in.
And one-time spending, a lot of people, these were one-time spendings, and they keep coming back, and they keep saying, oh, we need this one-time spending once again, the last 6 years, or something like that. So we have to cut those types of things.
I watch some of the more clownish people. They'll be like, oh, well, just because you appropriate money for I-70, right? You don't appropriate that all at once. It's stretched out over time.
Yes.
So it's some people count that every year But really, you're only spending it one of those 5. If it takes 10 years to do I-70, one of those years you're appropriating for the Wentzville part. Right. Are they starting that now?
They are. I believe they're starting it in the fall.
But that's going to be such a mess. But it's going to be so nice when it's done. It's a mess now, actually.
It is.
I mean, so you don't have to. Oh, you do. You get caught in the Wentzville merge. Oh, so
yes, I do.
Does it affect your life as far as like when you leave to come to Jeff City?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And when you leave to go home?
Earlier. It normally takes you about an hour and a half to get home. It'll probably take me 2 hours. So.
But now you probably move your day around that awful intersection, so you can miss the worst part.
I do.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think most people would. It'll be very. I really never thought our state could do something that big. And whatever people think about the ARPA money, COVID and all that, I probably agree with. But because of the way things happened, I thought Missouri played their hand very well.
I think it was a wise choice, yeah.
You'll be able to take back about COVID. You'll be like, Fauci and those people and these poor city people wearing masks all the time. Your heart went out to them. But you do. I think Missouri will say, yeah, all that. And we took advantage of this situation to rebuild our state's most important piece of infrastructure.
Yes, absolutely.
I think that's going to be. I think that our grandkids will pay. It'll pay dividends to them because of what you all did.
I think it'll help the growth of the state.
And even if you move on to be floor leader and speaker, I'm not sure you'll ever have a bigger vote than when you built that infrastructure.
Right.
Yeah. Let's talk about what you've passed. You had a busy session.
I have. I had temporary child care facility.
I have people that are fans of yours texting me good stuff about you.
Aw, that's good. Then I've had the foster care benefits package. So if a child goes into foster care because they lost a parent and they were supposed to get benefits, like state benefits or federal benefits, right now it goes to the state instead of to the children. So we wrote a law that now it will go to the children. So that was a good thing. So one of the first bill that we passed.
How does that work? If it goes to the children, what do you mean?
It will be so they can spend it if they need it now, like while they're in care. Like if they're at a foster family, and they maybe they were like a big, they played an instrument and they needed to take lessons, and the foster parent can't afford that. Well, they can use some of that money if a judge
that's awesome.
deems it okay, or they can wait until they're 18 years old, buy a car, or pay for college, or whatever that they need. They'll have that money for them, not the state. So we needed to have to find that money in our budget. It was about a $10 to $12 million deficit that we were taking because that's how much money they were getting from children. So, and that they're, from the state. I know. So that was something that we changed this year, and I was happy to help with Melissa Schmidt. So she worked on that.
I like her.
I love her. She's a sweetheart.
She's got a lot of energy, right? She's like fun to be around.
She is great.
Yeah, I really do like her.
Sweetheart.
On the budget, Cinderella Laughlin sat in that chair, maybe it was last Monday, they run together. You ain't got to ever really wonder what she's thinking, right?
I love her too.
She called out the child care system.
I agree.
And in the Senate budget, a lot of these things are posturing, right?
Right.
They zeroed out. Like, I like Becky Ruth. I've known her for a long
absolutely.
time. I don't think it's necessarily Becky. I just think it's the whole system. I assume that doesn't end zeroed out, right? There'll be some sort of...
I'm sure there'll be some, hopefully there'll be some compromise, that we can come to.
It felt like Cinderella Laughlin kind of, because I think Cinderella would tell you, this was something Cinderella Laughlin wanted. And,
I think it brings people's attention to this, and I think that's what it needs. I think people need to know. Our children need to be taken care of better in this state. And I think that's what Senator Laughlin, I think, is wanting to do.
To me, it just feels like such a complicated problem.
It is.
Because I bet it's one of these things, like you and I could sit here and read the headlines and think, well, that's obvious, they should have done that.
Right.
But there's usually reasons they do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I tell you, your heart goes out to those kids.
Does.
But I'm willing to bet you it's probably complicated.
Oh, it is very complicated because I've just started digging into this and trying to find, what's going on, why are we doing it this way, which also might be something that Doge might want to get involved in.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah.
See, because I think you obviously you associate your Doge or whatever with the federal Doge,
right? Which
I assume it had to be at least inspired by,
right?
And you associate Doge with just firing a bunch of federal employees, which most people are like, well, good.
Yeah, but that's not the intent of.
but efficiency means more than just cutting, right?
See what needs to be fixed and what we kept doing because we just do it, and do we need to stop doing some things and can we reevaluate things, and that's what I'm looking forward to doing.
It does feel like you always worry though, is this fixable? Like with Governor Kehoe and you guys taking over the police department, you start to wonder, hell, can you fix this?
Right.
Is this possible to fix? What is great is the folks up in the great Northwest have figured out how to do great rural broadband. The folks at United Fiber do a great job. And then if you bring your family to town, what hotel are you going to put them up in?
Here in.
Yeah.
Oh, I like the Baymont.
Oh, God. All right, Mark, she screwed up the sponsor read. I mean, there's only one. You could have answered all these questions however the hell you want. It would have made me no difference. Missouri, which camera are we on here?
You're on the middle one.
Missouri, listen to me. If you bring your family to your state's capital, do not take them to Baymont.
No, don't go
That
there.
is not great. They're going to get staph infections. It's just take your family, if you love them, to the Courtyard by Marriott. Now, if you have a wife that you're kind of looking to make an ex-wife, take her to the Baymont. That'll probably spur some discussions that get you on your way there to being single. But if you love your family, unlike Representative Hosmer, take your family to the Courtyard by Marriott. Don't be cheap.
I have stayed there. It is a beautiful hotel.
Thank you. Well, now this thing's back on the rails. I think my man Chucky from Soulard for this awesome. Look at Mardi Gras style.
Very nice.
My favorite Mardi Gras, including New Orleans, is St. Louis. Well, it's Soulard to be clear. All right, what legislation have we got left?
What legislation we got left? Let me see. I am the handler.
What legislation does Representative Wendy Hosman have
Was
left?
Wendy Hosman have? Let's see. I mean, I've had a lot of legislation this year. I'm trying to think of what offhand. What do I have?
Well, you're going to we have to cut this off here in a minute because you're on a conference committee.
I don't have any bills on that. I'm just taking care of it. So I'm just helping. I've been put on a lot.
Take folks inside that process. Like you get things. This is not. You were very quick on the uptake to legislating. In a conference committee where you're on it, what is there? 10 members, right? Does the chair? Does your party come and say, okay, these are the things we really want? And do you have take folks inside what a general, not the budget one, but what a general conference committee's like?
We kind of sit down. I mean, we just sit down and decide what we want to offer the Senate and what we are willing to give and what we're willing not to give. And then we go to the Senate, we tell them what we want, and then they say, we like this, we don't like this. Basically, they cut anything that, has not been, seen in both sides of the House and the Senate, and then we, kind of go from there.
So you guys get together, do you get together with the Democrats in the House too, or just the Republicans?
With both.
So you all the House members get together and kind of decide, okay, these are our priorities to send over. Do the Democrats ever be like, yeah, we're not for any of this. We don't like this at all?
I've not been on a committee yet that's done that, so I don't know.
Well, I would just think some of these bills, the Democrats are going to be like, well, we don't want the bill at all. So
right.
Sorry.
I never really thought about that but I haven't been on that, but yeah, it could be a problem. But
so what's your one today?
Oh, shoot, I believe it's the college that we've got. There's a bill right now for community colleges.
Oh, you got to cut McKenna stuff for sure, right? I mean, can't be giving him money.
So it's just so that the accreditation for 60 hours that the community college gives you can be applied to universities, because right now they don't have to take those credits. So we're kind of working a deal with the universities and seeing if we can't come up with a, compromise.
Gotta get Moon on the phone, make Dusty work a little bit, huh?
Oh, Dusty's visited me.
Well, what's their argument not to take them?
There's some. I think the universities are.
Well, obviously there's money. You'd rather You'd rather do business with the student directly than the person.
Right.
But that money matters to the university's mission.
The taxpayers are paying for community colleges as well, and so they need to be credited and up to date, and where they need to be where they need. So they are accredited credits so they can go to the universities. Because what's the point of taking a bunch of college credits that don't count and you're paying all this money?
And you got Weeman on salary at St. Charles for another few weeks, right?
Yeah, a few weeks.
Yeah, you let him finish it out. So does this pass?
I'm hoping it passes.
Why wouldn't Weber filibuster that?
I don't know. I sometimes just look at things and go, why do things
Truman,
happen?
is Weber going to filibuster this bill after conference committee? Truman thinks it's going to get filibustered. Yep.
Probably.
He thinks Weber's going to come in and obliterate that. Oh, cool. So, always nothing more fun, right, than the last week of session.
This has been different than last year, I can say.
All right, let's break our side of knowledge out before we go. Will you have a budget done by your constitutional deadline?
I'm going to plead the fifth.
Well, give me a prediction. We're not gonna hold you to it. There's no way you can predict, right? It's a unique situation, kind of different than it's normally been.
It is. I don't
that
think
could
we
be
will.
good, that could be bad, depending on your perspective. Do you think you'd get a budget done, though?
Will we get a budget done eventually?
By Friday?
No.
I think that might be the case. I heard Patterson was blasting some Tom Petty and stuff this morning. I mean, that might be the case.
We're going to hold our ground. That was what.
Truman, will that mean there'll be the biggest supplemental ever? Yeah. Well, I I'm going to vote with Truman on that. I mean, he is a college-educated tiger.
That's right.
Give me a prediction. Are you going to get a Prop A fix done?
I've not heard anything on that.
You got to do something on abortion.
I hope.
Yeah, to me, the big question would be, hardliner position, which is what the old law was. Mm-hmm. I think the Democrats are very willing to have you put that on the ballot because they don't think it'll pass.
Right.
I kind of agree with them.
Mm-hmm.
A more nuanced approach, something that has some exceptions, but limits most abortions.
I do like the bill that we sent over the Senate. I think it was very...
Yes, but if you actually win this fight, it's going to be because Mike Kehoe is on the phone raising money. Mm-hmm. It's going to be because everybody in the pro-life movement gets on the same page. Right. But it's really going to have to be you out on television and on the radio making the case for this.
Right, and I think some of us, that's the hill we'll die on.
Well, if you, Cameron Parker, Cindy O'Loughlin, you've got to, women have to carry this.
Right,
to convince people, women are going to have to be in the front of this.
Right.
The police report thing.
That was a tie. I did not like that. And then we removed it in the House.
So it's removed. Mm-hmm. See, I think if I was running the campaign against you, that's what I would key on and make that a big deal.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you get around that. I don't know how, you could go on the television and sell it and the radio. Mm-hmm. I think that's going to be the hardest question. But you've got that out. That makes sense to me. I'm not sure you can get around that to the public. I just think
it shouldn't be on there because I think that you could get a lot of false allegations and that could lead to so many more things.
I think it just also, in folks' gut, it just feels bad.
I agree.
Well, you have actual work to do. Thank you so much for coming and making news.
Thank you.
Best of luck. Hope as we will come back. I guess we'll see you. We're going to hit the road this summer.
Okay.
You're going to hit the road this summer, right?
You're
going to be all over the state.
Yes.
It is a huge state.
It is.
Thank you so much for the time. We really appreciate it. We'll be back here tomorrow. The president of UCM, we've got a UCM helmet that was here somewhere that you're going to get to see unveiled tomorrow with Jake Croson and Roger Best, the head of the University of Central Missouri, and former Senator David Pierce will be here tomorrow. And I will see you Sunday with the House Majority Floor Leader Alex Riley, who might not have a budget, so we'll have something cool to talk about Sunday on This Week in Missouri Politics.